Hello everybody. I welcome you all to this session on obstacles in performance appraisals. In the last session, we discussed about various methods of performance appraisal. In this session, we will discuss about various obstacles that appears in the way of performance appraisal. I am Dr. Chandrakant Sahu from Institute of Management and Information Technology, Cuttack. So every organization undertakes performance appraisal either formally or informally. However, it is full of shortcomings or limitations. Considering these aspects, Edward Demings, a proponent of total quality management, has observed that performance appraisal in its present form is dysfunctional because it rewards people for manipulating the system rather than improving it. It is often self defeating. It is also inconsistent with teamwork. It also acts as a substitute for proper management and is inherently unfair. To a great extent, the observations are valid because these are certain barriers which work against the effective appraisal system. Some of these barriers are more pronounced in specific methods of appraisals. In some methods, these may be less pronounced. Identification of these barriers is very much essential so that suitable measures may be adopted to reduce their impact to a certain minimum level. So, if you see, these obstacles may be or can be grouped in three categories. One is faulty assumptions, then there are some of the psychological blocks, and there are also some technical pitfalls. So, we will discuss one by one. So, let us discuss about the various faulty assumptions. So, if you see the various faulty assumption, so the first assumption is that managers naturally wish to make fair and accurate appraisals of their subordinates, but this doesn't happen. Both supervisors and the subordinates show tendencies to avoid formal appraisal process as well as to heed them in their respective work roles. Their assistance lies partly in their psychological characteristics, partly in their organizational roles, and partly in technical deficiencies and the unwise management of appraisal policies and procedures. So, this is one faulty assumption. The second faulty assumption is that the manager considered that the method they have selected for the appraisal is the best one and shall work for years. Therefore, they normally don't update it. Okay. So, this is one kind of self complacency behavior of the managers, that the method that they select, they think that is the most appropriate and can that work for many years. So, next assumption is sometimes manager believe that their personal opinions is better than formal appraisals, and they find little use of systematic appraisal and review procedures because they believe on their personal opinion. Their opinions are the best rather than in comparison to formal appraisal system. Therefore, they avoid the formal appraisal system. Some managers are also there, okay, who feel that it is not valid to tell subordinates frankly about their performance, okay, and can it be improved? Okay, how can it be improved? Okay, so this is also one aspects that some managers think that the deficiency of the people should not be revealed to them. Therefore, their development also doesn't take place. So there are also some of the psychological blocks. Okay, so psychological blocks these psychological blocks normally, if you see, the value of any tool lies on the skills of the users. Therefore, the utility of performance appraisal depends upon the psychological characteristics of the managers. However, research tells us more about the inhibiting characteristics rather than facilitating characteristics of the people. So, there are several psychological blocks which hinders the effectiveness of the effectiveness of performance appraisal. So these psychological blocks are feeling of insecurity, considering appraisal as an extra burden. So sometimes what happens, so the managers feel that it will create some sort of insecurity among the subordinates. Okay, so then another also, like considering appraisal as an extra burden, appraisal is just an extra burden. So they assume that it doesn't come under their role descriptions or job descriptions kind. So then being excessively modest or skeptical, this is also one of the reasons. This is also one of the psychological that block. So failing to treat subordinates failure as their deficiency, then disliking or resentment by subordinates. These are some of the psychological blocks that inhibits the managers while they appraise the performance of their subordinates. So there are also some of the technical pitfalls. Some of the technical pitfalls, like there are two kinds of technical pitfalls. One is criterion problem, another is distortions. Okay. So criterion problem is the standard of performance, or a criterion is the standard of performance the manager desires of his subordinates and against which he compares their actual performance. Criteria are hard to define in measurable terms or objective terms. Sometimes criteria are not or criterion or criteria are not quantifiable. Therefore, it is very difficult to measure in that quantifiable terms. Therefore, in that, so ambiguity, vagueness, and generality of criteria are also seen. So therefore, ambiguity, vagueness, and generality of criteria are difficult hurdles for any process to overcome. So there are also some of the performance appraisal error, like distortion, performance appraisal distortions. So this distortion occurs in the form of biasness, or error in making the appraisals. So one such is halo effect. Halo effect means that when one positive quality or a few of the positive quality clouds many of the negative qualities. That means, suppose take for example, I will cite one example. Suppose take the case of, suppose in recruitment selection also it can happen. Suppose there is a post for typewriter. Okay, for the typewriter post there may be a lady candidate who is not good in typing, who is not good in, like the hard skills, typing skills, but however the lady is very much beautiful. So the that recruiters or the person who is taking the skill test may be impressed at the beauty of the lady. Okay, and he doesn't see the skill that is required to perform the jobs. Okay, so there what happened, the obviously the lady may be selected for the jobs, but she will not be able to perform the task when she will be assigned, because she doesn't have the basic required skills. So this thing may also happen in case of the that performance appraisal also. Okay, some of the qualities, okay, may the candidate or the employee may have, or the subordinates may have some of the positive qualities, but so many negative qualities. But the positive qualities, one or two positive qualities that play a significant role in appraisals, that dominate, those two qualities or one two qualities dominates the uh, appraisal appraisal process. So that is also a kind of biasness. So this is called halo effect. So the opposite is that horn effect. Its opposite is horn effect. What is horn effect? Similarly, so where in case of halo effect or halo effect, so one or two qualities, okay, so discounts or that one or two qualities dominates the appraisals, whereas there are many negative qualities that do not, those are not considered or taken into consideration in appraisal process. Here one or two in case of horn effect, one or two or one or a few negative qualities dominate the appraisals. That means the if that the appraiser is very much that um, drawn to criticize the negative qualities of the appraisers, of the appraisee or the subordinates, whereas many good qualities that the candidate or the employee has are discounted. So these are just halo effect and horn effect are just opposite, but these two are certain kind of biasness. So central tendency, take for example, it's also a kind of biasness. Like central tendency means rating all average. So appraiser may not give high ranking or low ranking, or doesn't provide high grade or low grade, or rating all average. Like take for example between 50 and 70%, like that, out of 100%, or like 40 to 60% kind of thing. So rating all average within a average range can that people are rated. So basically here those who are poor performer, they take advantages of this, that average system. So whereas excellent performers, those who are outstanding performers, they suffers in this. So this is also a kind of distortion or biasness. So primacy effect, take for example in appraisal system, a candidate or in a appraisal process, a candidate or an employee or a subordinate has been able to impress the appraisers. So in the past instant, take for example, in the past instance means you can talk of that past impression last long. So in the initial few days, the candidate has been able to impress the appraisers. So that still continue to dominate the impressions, that still continue to impress the appraisers. So that is called the primacy effect. So recency effect, it is just the opposite. Like primacy means fast impression last long, recency means just recent impression last long. That means recent behavior, the appraiser has been impressed by the recent behaviors, whereas the person may have not been so much loyal, so much committed earlier, but recently she has been or he has been very much committed. So this is also a kind of biasness, you can say. So stereotype means it's an generalized impressions. Generalized impressions, take for example, suppose that Punjabis are brave, Indians are patriots, some sort of generalized kind of statement, giving one generalized statement and believing on the statement. So this is also a kind of biasness. So lenience means the person is very much lenient, he is not at all strict. So rating all high. So strictness means being rigid in the appraisal process. The appraiser is very much strict in appraising the performance of the that subordinates. So similar to me, like that appraiser has some similar characteristic. There is some personality matching between the appraiser and the subordinates. So it's also kind of these are all subjectivity. Okay, subjective bias. So poor appraisal form, maybe sometimes appraisal form is not suitable to assess the performance of the subordinates. Maybe the rating scale that is used in the appraisal form, that is not appropriate. Okay, where that there can be dichotomous options should be given. In that case, there are some rating like 1.7 scale has been used. So or some of the important aspects that need to be covered in the that appraisal form are missing, that may also happens. So sometimes also lack of rater's preparedness, the rater or the appraiser is not ready to take the appraisals. Okay, so because it requires some sort of preparation, that appraiser also requires some sort of training, he must know the job description of the persons. Okay, so that may also happen. So these are some of the distortions, or these are some of the appraisal errors may also take place in this. So but we must also discuss how to overcome the problems of performance appraisal, problems of performance appraisal. Suppose that the appraiser should turn the confrontation into a discussions. Okay, so sometimes feeling of insecurity that we discussed about, feeling of insecurity. Okay, sometimes in fear of resentment by the subordinates. So sometimes these are aspects when this come to mind. So like just when development of performance index or performance standard is developed like that, that with a lot of discussions with the concerned, so things may change positively. So turn the confrontation into a discussion. When there are some elements of confrontations in our appraisal process, like if honest appraisal is done, the subordinates may be resented. So instead of fear of confrontation, there can be discussions. Then then like link between the performance, the salary and performance. So linking the performance appraisal with the purpose, this is very much important. The assessor must know that why this performance appraisal is normally carried on. So accordingly, with the objective of performance appraisal, the appraisal has to be linked, like one of the objective like salary. So salary and performance has to be linked together, so that the parties involved in the performance appraisal process will cooperate. It will be motivating. Similarly, the appraisal must link to the jobs. Okay, so it is should link to the job, not beyond the job. It should not link to the personality tag, for example. That is the limitation of the trait approach that we are discussing. So as performance is something that is delivered, so so this should be linked to appraisal, should be linked to deliverable. So then development plans uh, may be put into place, like if the appraisers or the raters put development agenda before the ratees, means the subordinates who are being appraised, they will cooperate in the system, in the process, because they feel that this appraisal process is for their development. Therefore development plans have to be put into the place. So then keep a note means this is the documentation helps a lot, like continuous monitoring, continuous reviewing. Take for example final review, like feedback, mentoring output. So all these things help, so that when we document or the HR document this, it is easy to monitor all these things. It is monitoring is very much like, suppose take for example, suppose a patient goes to a doctor. So if the patient has been checking his health with the doctor before, so doctor will look for the prescriptions that have been prescribed earlier, so that he can follow up the next visits. Okay, so like that in case of performance appraisal also. So when things are documented, like performance planning, like performance standard, then review, then mentoring, feedback, all these things are documented, this development actually happens. Development plans have to be also, can be also designed. So these are the ways how that problems of performance appraisal can be monitored. So we'll complete the sessions today. We have discussed, let us review little. So we have discussed that various appraisals in effect, the various obstacles in effective performance appraisal. So one is faulty assumption, then psychological blocks, then technical pitfalls. So we have discussed all these things. So people like under faulty assumptions, we have discussed that managers want to make a fair and accurate appraisal of their subordinates, but they don't, normally they don't follow the that formal process, they avoid formal process. Then methods also, they think that method they select, that is the best method, they do not update it. Okay, then personal opinions also, they think that that is better than any other formal appraisals. Okay, therefore they do not rely on the formal appraisal process. So some managers feel that it is not valid to tell subordinates about their performance and their development plans. So these are like so some of the psychological blocks like feeling of insecurity, considering appraisal as extra burdens, being modest, excessively modest or skeptical, feeling to treat subordinates failure as their deficiency, disliking of resentment by subordinates. These are some of the psychological. Similarly, there are some of the criterion problem and distortions are also there that come on the way as far as technical pitfalls are concerned. So we have discussed this. So overcoming the problems of performance appraisal like turn the confrontation into a discussion, then link the salary and performance, then appraisal must be linked to the job, then development plans should be put into the put before the subordinates, then document all these things. So thank you very much for the for today. So we'll discuss with a new topic next time. Okay, thank you very much.